The opinions expressed in this program reflect only those of the participants and are not necessarily those of the sponsors, management, or staff of WTBQ Radio or FST Broadcasting Corporation.
WTBQ. Good morning. You are listening to the Nonprofit Notebook. I'm your host, Anquinette Hayles, and I am so excited because today in the studio, I have Lucia LaSpada. Did I say it right?
Lucia LaSpada.
Lucia,
so close.
Lucia LaSpada. Welcome. She's from Laced Photo Media. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Lace Photo Media.
Lace Photo Media. She's also a 40 Under 40 recipient, 2024 40 Under 40. So congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And it's so great to have you in the studio with us. So your first time here, tell those who are listening a little bit about who you are, what you do, where you're from in the Hudson Valley. And yeah, we'll start there.
Yeah. So Lace Photo Media, I'll just tell you, is an acronym for Lucia and Alicia Civilli. We are sister CEOs.
Sister CEOs. I love that. Yeah. I love that so much. Okay, go ahead.
And we're both from Gardiner, New York in the Hudson Valley, right near Minnewaska.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like that, and the Shawangunk Ridge and everything like that. So we were really close to nature. And I forget the other question that you had.
Yeah. No, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So you're originally from Gardiner, New York. So that's where you grew up. Now, did you go off to school or did you just kind of study in the area and then you just woke up one day and decided, hey, sister CEO, let's do this. Let's open up a business?
So there is a little story behind that. Mm-hmm. We actually my sister and I were both in kind of corporate environments. Mm-hmm. And it just became very overwhelming. Classic where you feel overwhelmed, underpaid, that kind of situation.
Absolutely. A lot of people listening can relate.
Can relate to that. I think so too. And so when we both independently made the decision to leave, and my sister has lived all over the country because her husband is at a firm that has locations all over the country. Mm-hmm. So she had moved back for a little while and we went out for lunch and I shared what I was planning to do and she shared that she was planning to do the same. So we said, well, let's do it together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the rest is history?
And the rest is history.
Now, how long have you both been in business together?
It's been a little over 7 years now.
7 years. Seven's a good number.
It's a good number.
It's a really good number. Okay. So you just decided one day, okay, we were going to make this leap into, and I love using the word leap. So we'll get into more about our leap for autism shortly. But you made this leap into starting your business. Now, for anyone listening, is it as easy as it looks? Because, starting a business or a small business owners, just seems to be very popular today. But I think a lot of people underestimate the challenges that one can face.
Definitely. I underestimated as well.
Yeah.
So when we got into business, I think the mindset is that you'll already have the clients, you'll already have that income coming in, and that's not how it works. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I was also a new mother at the time, and so it was a newly single mother as well. So it was very stressful, and I kind of I took the leap out of a moving vehicle. It felt like versus just a leap. And so it was, but having a business partner,
yes,
was very, very helpful throughout it all, because I feel like there are a lot of solo entrepreneurs that don't have someone to bounce ideas off of or, have that support necessarily unless they're part of networking groups and talking to other business owners that are independent.
Absolutely. Now, it's interesting that you brought up just networking groups and talking to other business owners. You were previously the president, and that's actually how we first connected. You were previously the president of the Gardiner Association. So tell us a little bit about that, because like you said, when you're starting a business, there are multiple challenges. And even if you have a partner in it, you still need those connections, and associations like the Gardiner Association gives you that opportunity. So for those who are listening that have never heard of the Gardiner Association, help us put it into perspective.
Yeah, so the Gardiner Association of Businesses started, I think, in the early 2000s. I think either 2000, 2001. And as a nonprofit, it's gone through ebbs and flows where it's been really successful, then it drops off, and it just happens that, someone picks it up, brings it back, and then it can drop off occasionally. So there's some chambers and organizations like that. So when I was introduced to the Gardiner Association of Businesses, they were considering dissolving the association because it had been stagnant for a few years. And I was starting Lace at the time as well, and I said, no, don't do that. Like, this is really important for our town to have something like this. And
absolutely,
yeah. So I took on the role of the president at that time, not knowing that I would be in that role for very much longer than I expected. And then I just really went on foot, to different businesses to talk to them in person and share more about the association. It was put a lot of work and effort in the beginning to try and get it going again. And we redid the website and everything like that. So when it was all said and done, we grew, at the height to a little over 120 members.
Wow.
In the association. Wonderful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, we had some change in secretary and vice president and treasurer in those roles, and I stayed on until I couldn't, and I said, it's time for me to go. And we have some great new people in those roles now. Yes,
I've had the pleasure of meeting the president, not in person but via email, similar to how we started our journey. So interestingly enough, you talked about just redeveloping the organization or the association, and you said you went door to door. And we're living in such you own a media company, but we're living in such a media-driven society today that, are you telling us that still the door to door, the what do they call it? It's the old boots on the ground. Yeah. It still works. It's an effective way to gain support.
I think so, definitely. And I think it's almost like because media is so in your face and popular, and you have that avenue, people are not used to being approached in person as much anymore. So it is interesting. It is, in that way, it's an effective marketing tool. But this was also, I would say this was before the explosion. This was like 2017 or 2016 that I was doing this. So I feel like it was a little more common back then, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. But effective nonetheless.
Yes.
And you can look back and say, I had a hand. I left my mark in the association kind of being where it is today. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, Lace Photo Media, tell us just a little bit about, what are you doing? What projects are you working on? What are you doing in the community? And so on.
Yeah, so we're working on different types of projects. So we work with website design, social media, photography, and my background is in hospitality. So I really like working with hospitality-based businesses, restaurants, breweries, wineries, distilleries, bed and breakfast, things like that. And sometimes I'll get a taste of the food if I'm lucky.
Yes, that's exciting.
And we in our past we've worked on so many different projects with nonprofits. One of them being with the Angels of Rock or Angels of Hope, and that's an amazing organization. They have an event every year to help with anyone that's going through either cancer treatments or something that's affecting their life in a way with health and wellness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I feel like your business is definitely needed. Like, although we're in a very media-driven society, there's still a really large pool of people, which I'm sure you are aware of, that have no idea what to do when it comes to things like websites development or design, social media, even Greystone. We just recently launched a new website, and our program coordinator, she's been learning the SEOs, just because, sometimes even if you pay someone to do these things, you still need to know a little bit about it to hold them accountable.
Yes.
And it's like a whole new position that she's embarked on, but she's doing a really great job. And so how important is it for people to just kind of like reach out and inquire about your business? Because again, if they don't know what they're doing, what does that look like? Sometimes people are afraid to reach out and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help?
Yeah. I mean, well, usually when we onboard a client, we discuss with them what our process is. And we share, like, this is what we'll be doing. This is how we work. This is how we develop the strategy. And we're going to be with you every step of the way.
I like that.
And I think they're not so used to that, even working with local firms in some sense, because everyone's process is different. But we have a pretty rigorous onboarding process so that, we share before we actually share with the world, we're sharing our process with you and making sure that you're satisfied and approve and that you understand what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Okay. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Nonprofit Notebook.
Greystone Programs is a nonprofit human services agency that provides essential services to more than 600 children, adults, and families living with autism and other developmental disabilities. Greystone Programs also provides residential support in a community environment with 17 homes in the Mid-Hudson Valley area. Greystone Programs offers exceptional care and support for a variety of programs and services. To get involved or for more information, visit greystoneprograms.org.
Hey, I'm TJ.
And I'm J-Bo.
We're always doing a show for people. What about our animals, our pets?
They need news too.
That's why we have Luna's Animal Tales. In honor of my pet, Luna, we tell the biggest animal stories from around the world and back. It's on the next TJ show.
WTBQ. And we are back. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Nonprofit Notebook. I'm your host, Anquinette Hayles, Advancement Consultant for Greystone Programs. And sitting with us in the studio today is Lucia.
Lucia.
I don't know why I want to say Lucia. Oh my gosh. Okay, Lucia from Laced Photo Media. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's ingrained now that I want to say it that way. But we're in the studio today. We're talking about all things small business. We're talking about all things media. Before we went to the commercial break, we were just talking about just your work and how personal you are with each client. You spoke a little bit about the Angels of Hope initiative, and what I love about it is it's not just about the job that you do, but it's also initiatives that you can take on. So like if an organization is not necessarily looking for maybe a social media manager, but they need some additional help with a particular event, it sounds like you all can help with like media and getting the word out there. So do I have that correct?
We helped them with photography.
Oh, photography.
And it was a great experience. I mean, they put the event so well together. The contact that I connected with is Alexis Mills, and I know she does a lot of work in different nonprofits and just fantastic work.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how important is photos to the overall media journey when you talk about website and social?
So important, because you can have a website that's laid out really nicely, and then if you have photos that don't look professional, then it's going to put a damper on the design. And then the same thing for your social media. I mean, I think that people have a general understanding that the feed needs to look aesthetically pleasing. And if you're struggling with the photos and the content and the quality of photos, then people will see that when they come to your profile and be less likely to hit that follow button, which is very important.
Yeah, interesting. So you're saying if like an organization's listening or a small business is listening, they should definitely take a second look at their profile, because that ultimately leads to how often people will hit the follow button.
Yes.
That's interesting. And what does it mean to be aesthetically pleasing? Does that vary from person to person, or would you say there's like a generalization for that?
I would say there's a generalization. You don't want, when you're looking at the feed, I mean, I'm referring to Instagram right now because there's many different social media channels. But when you land on an Instagram profile, when you come to it, you're looking at colors, you're looking at content, you're looking at graphics. And so often you'll see a profile where the graphics are all over the place. It doesn't necessarily match the branding of the business. And then you'll have different level of quality photos, and some of those photos might be really busy. All of them might be really busy. So really you want something that's clean for the eye to look at and that's engaging. Okay. Because once you have that follower, that's your follower. You're not paying a magazine, for instance, for their following. That's your following that you can do what you like with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we got to make sure it's clean, concise, okay, and that it is a great representation of the brand. So if someone's listening and they're like, okay, let me look at my Instagram right now as they're listening to this programming, and they're like, it doesn't do any of what she's talking about, how can they reach out to your company just to even get a consultation? Because I'm sure you do those. Like maybe you'll go to their feed, their website, and kind of tell them, this is my thoughts. This is how you can improve it. This is how we can help you improve it. So how does that work? Yeah.
Usually, in inquiries from our website, so lacephotomedia.com, it's exactly as it phonetically sounds.
Yep, it is.
And then they can reach out to us from there, and they can also give us a call. All of our information's right on our website. So
right on the website. So you heard it here first. So if you, again, have taken a look at your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, even your organization or your small business website, and you're saying to yourself, we could use an upgrade or a facelift, you definitely want to reach out to Lace Photo Media for a consultation, because I've seen your work and it looks really great. And I remember when we were seeking out the Gardiner Association for Businesses, and I went to the website, I was like, this is clean. It's like straight to the point. It's beautiful. And you upgraded their website, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, that was one of the things that stood out to me. I knew where everything was. It wasn't hard to find information. It wasn't hard to find the contact. And all of that's important, right? When you are a business owner or you are running a nonprofit, you have to make sure the information is correct, right?
Yes. And you do want it to be simple enough that people can navigate easily, because if they land on a page and it might look really beautiful, but complex and complicated, the user instinct is to just click away from the site and just say, I'm not going to deal with this. So
interesting.
And it only takes less than half a second for them to have that impression.
Less than half a second.
Yeah.
So are you saying that if a person goes to the website and they can't find what they need, it's only a half a second before they're like, I'm exiting out, and they're going to do something else?
It's only half a second before they have that first impression. So maybe it'll take a little more time before they decide to exit. But the first impression, less than half a second, and they've already decided what they think about your website.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And what's your take on just like reels and videos? Because sometimes when I'm scrolling on Instagram or even Facebook now, because Facebook's kind of changing over, they're trying to compete, even though Meta owns both Instagram and Facebook, but it seems like they're kind of jumping into the Reels business. What's your take on how long videos should be for the consumer?
So there's two different thought processes. There are videos where, people will make them shorter than you think they're supposed to be. So then they get watched again and again because you're confused that the video almost cut off.
Okay.
there's a
That's a perspective I've never heard before.
There's a strategy there. Those videos are usually like between 5 and 10 seconds, and they will get those views because people are confused. There's also videos where they're more of I would say the general rule of thumb is 30 seconds or less.
30 seconds or less. Okay.
You will find that attention spans have changed, and even 30 seconds is a little bit of a long threshold. However, if people find the content interesting, and especially if you have captions, because a lot of people will either pull their phone out at work or they'll pull it out in a place where they don't want to have to turn up the volume. Could be a subway ride or things like that. So it's really, really important, even accessibility wise, for people that don't have the option with the volume, so that everyone can be able to enjoy the video and understand what's happening there.
Wow, that's an interesting perspective actually two interesting perspectives that I've never considered. So I'm sure listeners also are like, interesting. The captions. And yeah, when you talk about just including everyone, that makes sense that you would want sound, you'd want, color, lots of pretty colors if it's something that you're trying to captivate the attention of the viewers, and then a caption that makes sense. And I feel like I've encountered a video or two where I was like, wait, did I miss something? Or it's like, wait till the end, and the end comes and you're like, wait, what happened? What happened here? I don't think I'm seeing what I was supposed to see. Or was that supposed to be the outcome? But they got me to watch the entire 7-second or 30-second reel, and I didn't get the desired outcome that I wanted. And then now I want to leave a comment. And I guess that's the way that's the marketing tactic. I want to leave a comment about how disappointed I was that I didn't see the outcome. So, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I've also seen users or influencers, I should say, pin a negative comment.
I have seen that as well. It's like, she did terrible on these highlights. And then you watch the video and you're like, oh my God, those highlights are wonderful. And it's like, where's the salon? I've definitely seen those videos.
Yeah. and that's just a way to kind of trick the algorithm, because they're expecting users that are either in her following to defend her, or users that just came across the video to say, I don't think so. I think this looked good.
Yes. Oh, interesting. Okay. So a lot of tricks, a lot of tips. You definitely, if you're listening, you want to tap in with Lace Photo Media. So as we kind of wrap up, one of the things that really sparked my attention, and I invited you on the programming, was because we have our 8th annual Leap for Autism coming up. And as I was sitting and I was chatting with you, you were like, oh yeah, and by the way, I've definitely taken the leap before. And I was like, what? That's awesome. So tell us a little bit, as we come to a close, tell us about that experience.
It was an amazing experience. It's the only time I've skydived.
Yes.
And Greystone Programs reached out to Gardiner Association of Businesses because they take the leap at Skydive the Ranch, which is right in Gardiner, New York.
Yes, it is.
And when I learned about the initiative, we were trying to get teams together and things like that. And I said, I think I'm gonna take the leap myself and maybe encourage others in the association to take the leap. Otherwise, I never would have gone skydiving in my life.
Yes. Well, we're so happy that you did, and we're going to wrap it up here, but stay tuned, because we're going to put your story on the Greystone website. So if you've tuned in today, you want to hear more about the experience of skydiving for a cause, you definitely want to tap in with greystoneprograms.org. Thank you so much for coming on. Tell us how we can stay in touch on media.
Yeah. thank you so much for having me. And if you want to get in touch with us on social media, it's at Lace Photo Media. If you want to visit our website, lacephotomedia.com. And if you want to give me a call, I may not get back to you so quickly. I'm on my way to have a baby, but 845-337-9987.
That's awesome. And we're going to put all of the contact information in our social posts as well as on our website. Thank you again. You're listening to the Nonprofit Notebook. That's our time.